Hello and welcome everyone once again to another episode of Backlog Weekly. And let's get right on to business. So, how did I do last week? Well, I finished Oblivion for one thing. Apart from that, how did that go? Since the last video on Friday, Saturday's cast, that's where things got bad. That's where the level scaling that I had been worried about all that time that I played that game, that's when it got up to me. Even regular goblins started beating my ass all over the place. And a story mission where I had to kill like 5 vampires. That got crazy. They just threw me to the wall. Juked me rough. And there was no way. The stream was a great scream fest at that point. So yeah, I really lost it that day. Eventually I ended up just doing the ultimate countermeasure and getting the difficulty setting all the way down. Which did help, so that was good. And after that, I didn't get to play much on the easier difficulty, but I got through that one mission and was happy. Sort of felt redeemed. On Sunday's cast again, I started almost liking the game once again. But I still, it was in the back of my head, of course, the thought that I had set the difficulty all the way to the easy mode. Child mode pretty much. Baby's first Elder Scrolls. But I still managed to somewhat get back into enjoying the game. That was alright. And especially the very late game parts. And by the way, here's gonna be spoilers. End watching immediately if you don't want to get spoiled by a game that's about 8 years old. Oblivion. Okay, thank you. But yeah, in the end when you get to go through the portal to find the big bad boy. Or the cultist leader. That was actually really cool. You went into the paradise thing that I was expecting to be like all the other portal places, but it was actually like a paradise, forests and parks and stuff. And you went around there. This stuff happened, and eventually I found the guy, killed the guy, and got back out. I figured it would have been there. That would have been it, but there was still something, what was it? Daedric Overlord eventually did come up, and we didn't get to fight it ourselves, but we did get rid of it in a very interesting way. The king who we were helping actually ended up becoming some sort of avatar of Akatosh, yes. So essentially he became a giant freaking golden dragon and wrecked the Daedric Prince's face. And that was pretty much the end of the main quest. Which was the end for me. So, after that, next Monday was when we changed the games. So the next game was Final Fantasy X2. That's the one. X2. So started that, and first of all, immediately starting the game, it was just something else, something really crazy and confusing. It starts out with a pretty much like a concert where Yuna is, she's a songstress or pop idol at that point, so that's the concert of her, then Riku and Pain, the two other main characters, come along. I should have probably said that there's gonna be spoilers in this one too, but you should know better. So they come along and they actually attack Yuna. At that point I was thoroughly confused. And of course, in a few minutes it turned out that was actually an imposter, and the real Yuna came over from somewhere, which is alright, and went from there. Then we started getting into the mode, and it's a really strange game still. It has a huge amount of different ideas that they've just thrown into the game without any concern about whether or not it works, so there's a lot of mechanics that are just pointless, like you have to jump at a precise time, press the button at a precise time if you want to jump from ledge to another. And also the dress spheres, garment grids, all sorts of crazy stuff going on with that. Voice acting is especially all over the place. I don't know how they managed, but most of the characters seem to be voice acted by the people who were voice acting them in the previous game, but somehow they just don't give a shit anymore. So that's interesting. You'll get to see that bit on the highlight I'm gonna put out. Because there was a couple of characters especially that had just stellar voice acting. But what else was going on? Yeah, once I got past the initial confusion, of course the mechanics of the game, the dress spheres, which is they're basically like jobs and you have to change the game encourages you to change them a lot on the go. But the game is constantly moving, the fights are constantly moving real time, you can't stop them. So it was really frustrating trying to work out the systems while the enemies just pretty much get free turns if you don't act quick. Eventually I found a way to stop the time in those pretty efficiently, and that helped a lot. And I did find also a good setup of dress spheres where I don't need to be changing them around a lot. Which actually turns out yesterday, found out when I talked about it with my friend, that the two characters that you are using actually a dress sphere that's not in the original game. I'm playing the HD remake, so it has some extra dress spheres, and the one I'm talking about is Festivalist, which is pretty much an all-rounder mage. Yeah, pretty much an all-rounder. Can use magic, attack, pretty sort of low defense, but it's not horrible in either. It balances out pretty well, and it has like the highest health of all. So they like added pretty much an OP class into the game, like right there. So right now I'm just using pretty much two of those and a warrior. That's been working out well for me. So after that I've been getting into the game pretty well. Problem of course is that not a whole lot of other people actually like the game, so maybe a bit low on the viewers, but that's alright. You know, that's the way it goes when I'm playing the games I have instead of what people want to watch. And that's about everything for the day. So, well, all that's left is, of course, give you a little bit of a taste of the stellar voice acting. Especially two of the sort of the main villains, sidekicks. These are lackeys, I think they should be called. But yeah, enjoy. Alright. What the hell is going on?
You're too slow, little girl.
The voice acting is 10 plus, by the way, as well.
Show's over!
Ouch. This way.
It hurts.